Morning, Craig. Hey, Tibor. There we go. Good morning. Just fooling around this morning. So I'm doing something a little more energetic. Hey, Craig. Let's see. Okay, I said hi to Craig. Tibor. Daniel, morning from Spain. Hey there. Let's see. We have Shat. Mommy Vice meets Dirty Harry. Yeah, we're definitely doing a little proggy stuff this morning. Do you feel funky, punk? Nice. That's the igloo 5 or 6 times. Yeah, we were in 5 today. Let's see. Something in the air. Phil Collins reference. Nice. Hey, AJ. And let's see. All right, we have the 3 of you. Oof. Man, this morning at like 4:25, when I was laying there about to get up, I hear the dog come in, and he's like, yeah, it's going to be a great day. But it's 4:30, right? And he's like way ahead of schedule. Normally he comes in like that. And he's like, okay, I need to go outside, do my business. Then you're going to give me a cookie, right? And then breakfast. And then we're going to go for a walk. And it's 4:30 in the morning. I'm like, no, you need to go back to bed. And he's just like, what are you talking about? Just the happiest dog ever. So I like throw him outside. And I think it's like 13 degrees Fahrenheit right now. It's like well below freezing. And I'm just like, standing there in my robe. I'm like, go. Please do your thing, man. And then come in. He eventually comes back in. I give him a small cookie. And I'm like, here you go. Now I turn the light off. He expects me to turn all the lights on in the kitchen and things, start making breakfast. I turn the light in the house back off. And I'm like, okay, go to bed. And he just looks at me with this sad dog face, this sort of like, what's going on? Right? Because he's old and getting senile. He's very confused. I had to send him back to bed. I come in here, I close the door, and he's like standing outside the door, and I see this eye as the door closes, right? One tear falls. It's very, very traumatic. Anyway, that was my dog's morning. He would not say it was a great morning, but This cold is almost gone. Almost. We're getting there. Let's see. I was talking with Tibor about intervals, or he was talking about intervals on Discord yesterday. And chords for using a grid for chords. Let's change it. That's a good one. And there's one thing, we were talking about grids the other day. We talked about the Launchpad Mini. The nice thing about a grid keyboard is that chord shapes never change if you're in chromatic mode like this. So like this is always a minor. That's the shape for minor. It doesn't matter where you move it. It's going to be a minor chord, minor triad. Right, this one's major. And the thing I like about grids is not playing, basic triads, but playing intervals about 1 octave apart, or playing 2 sets of fifths. Right, so like this would be the fifths an octave apart, but I like playing fifths at different intervals between them. So we'll play a fifth here, and then a fifth here. This shape over 2 and up 1 is a fifth. It's a power chord. If you play guitar, you play bass, it's, finger and then up 2 and up 1. Like layering fifths that don't necessarily go together is fun, a good exercise. So Something we were talking about yesterday. We'll do it with a little piano. And one thing that makes it more fun is if you turn on the arpeggiator. Hang on a second. So you hold that sort of a root fifth and then start playing, adding fifths above it and around it. You know? Oh, sorry. Not paying attention. Let's see. Yeah, Bubba. My dog's name is Bubba, in case you didn't know. A little white Bichon Frise. Weighs about, it's getting fat because he doesn't exercise much in his old age. So he weighs about 13 pounds, 14 pounds. Just get your hands on a push, Craig. Get your hands on a grid of some kind. It becomes clear in use. Like you can pick up a guitar and figure it out, but I think more often than not, the guitar feels overwhelming. And a grid is just an 8-string guitar with only 7 frets. It's much simpler, and it's easier to pick up, I think. Yeah. We all play, you pick up the guitar and play power chords. Same thing on the grid, except it's more fun. Immediately more fun. Hey, Animotion. Yeah, and then working in 5. So it's working in 5 this morning. It's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 8. And the way I internally count it is I split it into 16ths, which is convenient for, synthesizer music. And I count 6 16ths and then 4 16ths. So it's really counting like 10 16ths total, which is 5, 4. So instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm doing it closer to like West Side Story. I count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can do, just turn off the arpeggiator. So in this morning's piece, I had the piano doing this. One, two, three, four, five, six, 1, 2, 1, da, 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 da. If you've ever seen the song America from West Side Story, that's similar. That one's like da 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 da. That's, I think that one's in 6, not 5. So da 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 dun 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 da 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 dun dun dun. That song. I'm okay. It's Broadway, not Berlin School, but still, it's a familiar, popular song that uses that almost the same cadence. And what I'll do is I'll change the uppermost note as I'm going through. And this particular sort of playing this little 5th octave thing, we record a really short one. right? And we loop that. This sort of like little pattern is really, really fun to play the bass under. Or you just play the root for the bass. Now let's do this. Just hold the root, so like this. All right. Whoops, undo. There we go. And now when we transpose it, that piano part becomes a nice like walking melody as we rise up to our chord changes. Like that. And then you just put a chord over it or under it or whatever, right? Or a lead. And so your leads, cadence-wise, can be just two notes. Bum, 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 bum. And you just play, improvise something over it. So let's do this. There we go. So you've got that pattern running, right? And now when we transpose it, it's harmonically interesting. And then from a drum perspective, drums in 5/4, you want to do the same cadence, like tend to accentuate the first beat and the fourth beat. Let's see, and I've got a drum part I built this morning. Bop, 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 bop. There we go. Yeah. Exactly, Tibor. Black Dog, man. That brings back my junior high school days. So Craig says I make it look easier than it is, but there's just not a lot of parts here going. Let's break them down real quick. Okay, so what are we listening to? There's only 4 parts playing, okay? There's a drum part. And in that drum part, when I solo a track, it solos my mic. I should probably fix that. So there's this drum part. And then there's our bass line. Right? Just playing a root octave thing. Do, 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 do. Right? And then we've got our piano part. Right? And then a lead. The lead's probably the most complicated thing, like harmonically, because it's moving through. It's not playing a repeating figure. It's playing a repeating figure that's 8 bars long, but the phrasing is 4 bars long. Let's see. It's just bum 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 bum. That's all the lead's doing. It's doing the same thing the piano's doing. It's just that instead of playing the same figure, same 4 notes, it's just moving around in the key. You could almost randomly play notes from the key. In fact, I'll make one. All right, so let's do this. Let's mute. This will be an experiment. We'll keep the drums going so I can hear the downbeat. All right. So we're going to record 8 bars of this. No, we'll record 16 bars of it. I'm just going to use the same pattern. I'm going to go, the rhythmic pattern will be bum, 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 bum. I'm just going to play notes in that rhythm. Bum, 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 bum. And that's just a 5/4. If you're not familiar, if you're not comfortable playing 5/4, go make a drum pattern that's in 5/4. Put a kick on the 1 beat and on the 4 beat. And that'll get you into the groove. Put whatever hat pattern down you want. Build this little rhythm pattern in 5, and then practice playing on 1s and 4s. Bum 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 bum. Okay. And so I'm just going to randomly play notes out of the key. I'm going to use the root a lot. I'm going to come back to the root all the time. But I'm going to hit the root and walk away. Hit the root and walk away. Hit the root and walk away. And I'll just record 16 bars, and then we'll put everything back and see how it sounds. All right, so that's me playing in that pattern and just playing notes that are in the key. And I wasn't thinking melodically at all. I was just saying, play root and walk away, and play root and walk away, okay? And if we bring the other parts back in, it should kind of fit. I think. Let's find out. Bring that lead up. Yeah, it still works. Because you're within the key, right? And when we transpose it around, it should still be pleasing. Question from Mark. Can you explain what you're doing on the Launchpad and the transposition? Yes, Mark, but if you go watch January video number 2, that's where I explain it in more detail. And I think I think you were here for that. I think we explained it. So maybe clarify your question, because the Launchpad, the transposition stuff is the Launchpad set up to, how do I say this succinctly? The 5x5 grid over here, the jelly beans part of the grid, is set up to send MIDI notes, C through 2 octaves of notes from C to C. I think it's C1, C2, C3. And then chromatically it goes up. In Ableton, I have those MIDI notes coming from the Launchpad mapped to a pitch control, okay? The pitch control is scale aware and is diatonically transposing all of every instrument has a pitch control on its track that's listening to the jelly beans. And when I change the note that the jelly bean is set to, it turns the pitch dial on every track except the drums, and then transposes them around the key diatonically. So when I press the middlemost button, that's the map to 0. So the notes just play true. And when I move up 1 or 2 or 3, it turns the dial 1, 2, or 3 scale degrees. And when I go down, it turns it -1, -2, -3 scale degrees. And that just transposes everything within the key. That's how it works. And I go into detail on that in video 2. And I think this video may even have a link to the Launchpad sysx file, so you can load this up and don't have to build it yourself. So, all right, hang on one sec. Black Dog, and then Mark asked his question. If that doesn't answer your question, Mark, ask it again in a different way, or ask a clarifying question. Yeah, life. Push is nice. Launchpad Pro Mark III is equivalent playability-wise to a push. So if you want to play, if you want to tap around, and you don't want to spend $1,000, that's what a push 3 controller costs. Or even I think a used push 2 is probably $400, $500. If you don't want to spend that much, a Launchpad Pro Mark III is just as playable, like sensitivity-wise. You might have to adjust some of the curves a little bit internally, but it's fine. It's very playable, and you can get those used for like $250, like $300. Still not cheap, but. And if you don't mind using if you're a DAW person, which what I'm talking about here kind of requires Ableton or Bitwig or some DAW for having transposition logic programmed into it. Like doing this DAW-lessly is doable, but you're going to need a really fancy hardware sequencer to do it. So if you really are strapped for cash, the Launchpad X is also nicely playable, like the Launchpad Pro Mark III, but it requires a DAW. It won't send out MIDI out of a MIDI. It doesn't have MIDI ports on it. So the Launchpad X, it only has a USB port, so you have to connect it to a computer, and you have to be using something to interpret it, and that means a DAW. So, but it's cheap. You can get those for like, I think, $100 used. So, Mark, good. Okay. All right. The same lead starts 2 or 3 times, delaying each. Just my 2 cents. Tibor, you want to try that? We can do that right now. Let's see. So I've got this. I have this. So I have this piano part. Let's copy this piano part over to some other instruments. And we'll put it on the bass too. And we'll start them at different times. Oh, you know what? The one I chose, hang on. The one I chose was too simple. I want this one. Yeah. We'll copy this over. We'll duplicate this across the instruments. All right, ready? We'll do it. We'll do them 1 bar apart. No, we'll do them 2 bars apart. So hold on, here we go. Four bars apart. And this one we have to transpose down. I think that's what you meant, Tibor. So the same part being played by 3 instruments, but shifted in time. Bye, Anna. Have a good day at work. Project Siren asks, do you also use macro mapping on your channels or effects on the master for transitions like filter or delay between scenes? I could, but not for January. I generally don't set that up. But if I'm going to do like a song performance, hang on. So Project Siren. Yeah, I use macros like extensively, but we might not be using macro in the same way. So hold on one sec. So I'm going to demonstrate. So Tibor, yes, you can totally do this. So well, let me finish this thought, Project Siren, for Tibor. All right. So yes, if you've got a clip assigned and running for an instrument, you can duplicate that clip, or you could do variations on it. But I just literally duplicated it and started them up at different times, and they will, behave like a fugue or a canon. I think a canon. So I'm not I don't know the difference between a fugue and a canon. But I think of it like a round, right? It's, you start one, and then a bar later or 2 bars later or some interval of time later, you start it again on a different instrument and start it again on another instrument. That's what I'm doing. And yeah, you can absolutely do that. Ableton, any clip loop-based software, so Ableton, Bitwig, Logic, Reason, Renoise, I think everything these days supports having a MIDI clip that you can duplicate across instruments and then start them up in time. And you can totally do a round or a canon or a fugue. Okay. Fugues begin with an F. Nice, Craig. All right. Tibor, let me know. I hope that answers your question. Project Siren. So let's talk about macros for a second. Okay. This bass. All right. This bass is a big layered sampled bass. It's got a couple instruments on top of each other, a whole huge chain of effects. I'm not set up to screen share that. I have a video called, you search for Synth Seeker Rick Bass. This is a video that explains how I build this sound. But from a macro perspective, and I think you can see this on the screen slightly. Yeah, so these up here, right? You can't quite see the dials. I've got knobs above them that control these dials that are being displayed. These are 8 macros that I use for this bass. Hang on, let me bring the volume up. All right. And the macros are sub-level. So there's the bass, the Rick bass, and then a Moog Minotaur sub underneath it. I'll turn the sub up. Turn the sub down. So I'm using those for macros. Now, I can assign macros to many things at once. These are generally macros that are mapped deeply into the instruments to control internal parameters. But you can have a single knob that controls a bunch of things to do, I think what you're implying, transitions between scenes or something like that. Yeah, totally. I could do that. I'm not set up to do that for January, but for other, if I'm doing a performance that I'm prepared for, I've got like a prepared set where I'm going to do some live looping and do some improv over that. And I've got some clips prepared to be fired off. Those will have lots of macros and transitions in them, but I generally don't focus on that stuff. That's leaning more into large scale public performance or DJing, which isn't really my bag. I'm a live looper more than anything. I like live improv, and transitional effects will be more along the lines of I'll have some extra clips on other instruments that I will trigger when I want to transition from one section to another section or from an A part to a B part. And those may contain parameter automation to do, some crazy effect like a filter sweep or, a really strong phase feedback kind of thing. The sort of jet engine kind of transitional sound, or risers with drops, the sort of the big swoosh up followed by the whoa, kind of thing. I will do that too. But those are usually it's easier to contain those within clips because I have an infinite number of slots available to add the transitions as clips. So I don't generally lay my hands on a macro knob to do that sort of stuff. That leans closer to performance controls from a DJ perspective, which isn't really my thing. So, but I mean, tools are tools. Do what you want, right? Did that answer your question? Let me know. Good, Mark. Mark appears to be happy. All right. AJ says, did you specially prepare the part to be playable like this? Do you leave some parts sparse? Yeah. Well, I mean, when I started this morning, if you scroll all the way back, I think I only had like 2 parts, and I had a drum part playing and prepared because I suck at doing live drums. But I think you could see in the grid, these are the clips that were prepared. Basically this stuff in the front row, in the first line, and then everything else is things we developed over the course of the morning, basically. So what was there originally? This morning, we had a drone playing. So like if you tune into the very beginning of the stream, this was playing, right? And this is just a chord progression that I had prepared. And then I believe I had some plucks going. I think I had that running. And then I was noodling around, playing some chords, things like that. I was doing some pad stuff and letting this kind of run. The drums were playing in the background, but they were muted. So I use a control here to bring up the drums. Right, so they were playing there. And I fiddled around, and I played the bass a little bit. Yeah, I like, hang on. I noodled the bass a bit, and then I triggered this clip. And then I started playing this synth. I think I recorded this one live this morning. And then fiddled around, did some transpositions, and then started adding clips, right? Hang on a sec. Right, I started building this stuff up. Well, not that bass part. That's one that I just put there a second ago. Anyway, yeah. So I sometimes prepare a thing or two. It's more convenience. Like if I need a bed to be playing, I'll prepare that. Or if it's Berlin school, like is what I'm shooting for, beds are really easy to make really fast. It's like a 2-bar loop and then another 2-bar loop, set them at different lengths so they phase, drop a bass line under it. You're good to go. That takes like 30 seconds to build. It's not hard. I think I demonstrated that day before yesterday. Cool, Tibor. Gozinagons. Morning. Yeah. So what do we cover today? So working in 5 is fun, right? Yeah. So working in 5 is fun is one thing we learned today. Bring these down a little bit. And it's not hard, right? So what's the tempo actually? Tempo is 95 BPM. So 5/4, 95 BPM is good. It's fun to put your accents on the first and the fourth beat. Bum, 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 bum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It makes this cool sort of, it's not swing, but it feels like swinging. It's kind of like, I don't know, Andalusian kind of feel to it, right? It's a large 53-year-old man in his bathrobe swinging his hips in the morning. Woo! So working in 5 is fun. And the patterns are nice and short, so you can do a repeating figure like this piano part. 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's where the accents are. Same as the drums. Right? And you put a bass on it that's doing something very simple at the root. Right, just taking that alone and then transposing it around the key is super fun. And what are we in? We're in B minor. And we go down. Super fun. And then you just load whatever you want for a lead. And play over it. Kill your sustains. And no jazz notes or chuckles. Yeah, right. You know, if you're using a grid that's lit up, it's easy to stay in key. But I mean, you could step out. Right. So if you wanted to play jazz notes, you could. Right. Here, let's do something terrible. Now we're doing Wendy Carlos or Aaron Copland. So here's a music trivia thing for people who care. Aaron Copland, is an American composer. From a pop culture perspective, he did the music that is associated with beef. So he did he did a lot of music, just amazing composer, right? But and you could go look him up on YouTube, Aaron Copland. Okay. And he does things. Fanfare for the Common Man is the probably most famous piece that he's done. From a pop culture perspective, it's not my favorite piece, but and he does something interesting in that his music, if you're listening to it, it's orchestral music, right? And he actually uses 2 keys at the same time that are not necessarily copacetic. So he'll have one part of the orchestra be playing in D, and then have another part of the orchestra playing in F or F sharp. And they'll be playing the same and sort of pleasing harmonic sort of series, harmonic notes, right? The notes will be in harmony as though they're in a single key. And then, but one part of the orchestra will go off into phrasing that plays things that are in the other key. And it sounds like beautiful, but if you really listen to it, it's like, that's a wrong note, right? Like they're, but they're playing with intention, and it matters. It's super interesting to listen to. So Copeland wrote music that was in two different keys simultaneously. I'll post a YouTube link to the community tab and say, go listen to this little piece of music and listen for notes that you think are wrong, because that's him saying, okay, you guys over here, you're going to keep playing, and you guys over here, you're going to play in another key now, and we're going to mix them together. It's really cool. Let's see. Gozingon says, I wish the Akai Force had a real-time transpose function. Didn't that come in version 3? I don't know. I thought like version 3 solved a whole bunch of stuff. Tibor says, I'm wondering how you can simulate bass strumming up and down. That comes down to, it's going to be sample libraries in the, all the guitar libraries basically have up and down strokes. All the string libraries have up and down bowing. It's just a matter of someone going to the trouble to record it. If you're going to synthesize it, you would have to. So one thing that happens in sample libraries a lot, and you can do this on a synth as well, is you have a keyboard split, where the left hand is playing one sound and the right hand is playing another sound, and you put them both in the same octave, and you have the right hand side of the split play a slightly variant sound timbre-wise, so that these sounds are the downstroke sounds and these sounds are the upstroke sounds, and then you just alternate, right? And they're in the same octave, but you're playing up, down, up, down, up, down, or you can go, down, up, up, or whatever. So it's doable, but that comes down to programming your sounds. It'll be fun. Yeah, Wendy did it as well, for sure. Wendy Carlos. Hey, Edub. Good morning. And it's early where you are, isn't it? Let's see. Myopic Mycelium. Hey there. Let's see. Gizen says, oh, you bought a BeatStep Pro? Okay, to make up for the MPC's failings. Okay. Hey, man. I'm sure there's, someone will come up with something. They'll get around to it eventually. We can talk in Discord if you want about the sort of timbre-wise variation. Itinerant Ghost, good morning. Let's see. Who else is here? Will English. Hello, good morning. So I've been running for like an hour, so I should go to work. We'll do one last summary for the people who just popped in. So we're working in 5 this morning, and we're in B minor, and we're playing around with more prog kind of stuff today. So we've been playing with this sort of pattern, accenting the first and the fourth beat in 5/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've been accentuating that. So if that's the basic pattern we have running, and then our bass line just sort of fiddles around on the root, and our drum part is doing the same kind of thing. Do, 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 do. Right. And I said earlier, if you've ever seen West Side Story and you know the song America, that's not in 5, it's in 6, but it's the same basic idea. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Dun, dun. America does it, there's 3 beats instead of 2 at the end. So America's da 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 bum 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 da 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 bum bum bum. There was oh man, here's a childhood thing. Do you remember the cartoon for children? Some of you may know this and some of you probably don't. It's a culture thing. In the United States, there was a cartoon called Tiny Toon Adventures with the characters, the Warner Brothers, and their sister Dot. They would do a lot of spoofs of musicals, and they did a spoof of West Side Story about pigeons in New York. And the pigeons, there's a statue of Martin Scorsese, and the pigeons are arguing over who gets to perch on Scorsese's head. And it was set, this idea was set to the song America from West Side Story. So they would be singing this thing in this cadence. And it was, we want to perch on Scorsese's head. That's the way you remember the cadence of this. Da 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 da. It's, we want to perch on Scorsese's head. Why can't we perch on Scorsese's head? It's hilarious. And as a child, I'm watching this with no knowledge of West Side Story or who Martin Scorsese is. And so I'm just enjoying it because it's a kid's cartoon. But as an adult going back and watching it, it's like, this is just brilliant ludicrousy. So anyway, go back and watch the opening if you want to hear what we were doing. But it was fun. Who wants to perch on Scorsese's head? We're not making me super late for work. No, it's 6 a.m. here. I generally get to work around 7:30, so I smell. I need to go take a shower. And I need to find my pop filter. The little fuzzy nubbin fell off the mic, and it's somewhere. It rolled under a synth somewhere around here. So sorry for all the plosives when I say P's and B's. So that's okay. Yeah, Animaniacs. You got it, Edub. It was like kids' educational television almost. It's kind of like Sesame Street, but goofier for Warner Brothers. Anyway. So that's it. Let me play us out. I'll sort of go back through this and explore it a little bit. So we had this running. We didn't have the drums running. We had this running. I'm just going to give you a taste of sort of the finished place where it was. So I'm just restarting all the clips that I built earlier in the set, just so you can hear what was going on. That's better. Hey, Sidejex. I'm so late and figured I missed the stream. That's fine. It's the Prog stuff that makes me go long. I just like, or when the Berlin School's really powerful. The ambient stuff, not as much. Anyway, so I built these clips earlier. You can go back and rewind and watch them at your leisure. And then I was just transposing them all around. Let's change the sound. Hey, Don. Let me, I gotta maintain some street cred here. Hold on. We'll play for real. Record it. Oh, I am recording it. I thought I recorded it. There it is. Accidental recordings. Anyway. Do some bass too. Probably helps if you select the clip. There we go. All right, new bass part. Oh, I miscounted. Hold on. It started looping when I wasn't ready for it. Let's try again. Mistakes happen. That is a very self-indulgent bass line. So, like, not really paying attention to what the other instruments are doing and just sort of saying, I'm going to solo on my own. And if you've ever been in a garage band with someone who plays like that, you know how annoying it is to play with them. But that's why I have all of these synthesizers, because they don't give me any shit and let me do whatever the hell I want, whenever the hell I want. And there's no negotiation with the other members of the band. So if you ever have to do a collaboration with me, you'll know I'm bossy and I don't always listen. So. So that was what was going on. So you can listen to it at the beginning of the stream if you want. There, we'll shut her down. And it all started with just that pad. So, let's see. Craig says accidental recordings are much better than accidentally forgetting to hit record. That's true, but the system does listen all the time and capture everything. So even if you forget to hit record, these days, at least on the Ableton, with the push and with the move, there's a little button here with a little symbol on it that means capture that thing that I forgot to hit record on, and it'll grab it and put it in there. As long as it's not too long, it works pretty well. Oh, Don, the heat hasn't kicked in. Oh man, I hope you stay safe. Okay. You know, every year, N number of people our age unfortunately perish because they don't have enough heat. So get help if you need it. All right. Let's see. Got tickets to see The Who, Craig said. Entwistle passed the day before the gig. Okay. Well, yeah. John Entwistle is a great bass player as well. Okay. Well, so for the people who popped in at the end, I'm sorry, you'll have to rewind and listen to the earlier stuff. But today was a long one. Went for a little bit over an hour. Hope the rest of your day's easy. I'll be back again tomorrow, and January's going fun. I hope you guys are having a good time. Either if you're making music or just listening to participation, that's cool too. And really, that's about it. All right, I'm going to shut her down, and I then need to get in the shower and de-stinkify myself, and then get dressed and go to work. All right. See you later. Have a good day. Be good.